Anatomy of strategy. Strategy is the process of creating a set of well-coordinated activities with the aim of occupying a valuable position within a competitive landscape. Every word and phrase in this definition has been carefully chosen, so let's dig deeper into each of the most important parts to learn more about strategy. Let's start with the second half of our definition, which centers on what we're trying to achieve with our strategy, a valuable position. Strategy is useless without a clear objective or outcome. If you don't know what you're trying to achieve, then it doesn't really matter what you do or what activities you choose to engage in. You can never succeed because you don't know what success looks like. So when building a strategy, you have to know what valuable position within a competitive landscape you want to occupy. The value is subjective. It's inherently personal in nature. There's no right or wrong goal. Maybe you want to be the greatest pizza chef in the world, or maybe you want to be the world's greatest ice cream maker. One outcome isn't inherently better than the other. It's your personal preference. Not having a clear, well-defined goal or objective is a complete waste of your precious, finite resources. Of course, our most precious resource, time, is always slipping through our hands, day after day, hour after hour. So we can't spend our entire lives trying to figure out where we want to end up either. All right, so our valuable position is where we want to end up, but it isn't within a vacuum. It's within a particular landscape. If you make and sell ice cream, then your most obvious landscape is other ice cream sellers. When your prospective customers are ready to exchange their money for ice cream, your ice cream competes directly with all of the other ice creams out there. Somewhat more broadly, your ice cream competes with all desserts, frozen or not. So, for some of your prospective customers, your ice cream is competing with cakes and cookies and chocolate. Or more broadly, maybe your ice cream is competing with all sweets, which would include soda or anything in the canned aisle, or even a sugar-filled latte from a coffee shop. Even more broadly, your ice cream could be competing with snacks like nuts or chips, or maybe most broadly of all, food of any sort, junk food or not. Exercises like this can be really useful for mapping out your competitive landscape. So far, we've started with a competitive landscape of just ice cream and zoomed out to include all food. But let's go the other direction and zoom in. What kind of ice cream are we talking about? The cheap stuff that comes in the giant clear containers for $6 a gallon, or the expensive handmade stuff that's $6 for just 2 scoops? Or maybe you specialize in dairy-free ice cream, low-fat ice cream, gelato, sherbet, sorbet, ice cream sandwiches, ice cream cakes. Or maybe you use only the best cream from the happiest cows in the world. Or maybe you really focus on what you add to the cream. Fresh ingredients, weird ingredients, branded ingredients like Reese's ice cream, Oreo ice cream, or maybe Girl Scout cookie ice cream. Maybe you sell your ice cream to huge national grocery store chains and convenience stores. Maybe you only sell to the super fancy restaurant in your town. These are just a few of the dimensions and variables in the ice cream landscape. Each combination of these decisions defines a unique space within the competitive landscape. Some of these spaces are valuable to prospective customers, but many are not. This multi-dimensional topography must be properly explored, mapped out, and studied to increase your chances of success. If your goal is to build a castle that you can easily defend from attacking enemies, you'd probably want to know where all of the hilltops were and which had fresh water and which were near large forests. And as you survey your competitive landscape, you may discover a new valuable position that no one has ever been to or occupied before. One final thing to note about competitive landscapes: they all have boundaries. Some boundaries are like borders between countries on a map, which don't really exist as part of the natural landscape. Other boundaries are features of the landscape, like an enormous mountain range, an impassable barren desert, or a large body of water, like a lake or an ocean. It's important to think about the different types of features and boundaries that exist within a landscape, how they impact the value of different positions for you and your competitors, and how the terrain may change the resource requirements to conquer and occupy a given position. It's not always true, but usually only one competitor can occupy a given position at a time. So once competition for a well-defined position has stabilized, then duplicative or copycat strategies usually fail or are forced to compete exclusively on unfavorable dimensions, like price, which is often a race to the bottom. So choose your competitive landscape wisely and survey it thoroughly before investing your precious finite resources on conquering and defending a specific position. So far, we've talked a lot about the valuable position we'd like to occupy and the competitive landscape it's contained within. So let's turn our attention to how to actually get there. Let's jump back towards the beginning of our definition and discuss this set of well-coordinated activities. Constructing a strategy is a creative act. You're bringing together several elements to build something important, whether it's completely novel or based on past learnings. Creating a strategy is like lockpicking, cracking open a secured lock without the key. And just like a locksmith gains experience and can unlock similar locks faster and faster, diligent strategists will become more skilled and faster at developing good strategies for new situations and goals as they gain more and more experience. But one really cool thing about strategy is that you get to decide which locks you want to pick open. This means that you could choose harder or easier locks depending on your objective and the competitive landscape. And sometimes easily picked locks guard huge treasures. But strategy isn't just pensive reflection. Strategy usually requires action. So coming back to our definition, strategy is a set of well-coordinated activities. The first thing to note here is that strategy isn't usually just a single activity. It's almost always several activities combined. These activities consume resources, and since our resources are scarce, we can't just do everything and double down on what works. We have to decide which activities we want to allocate our limited resources to and leave behind the rest. These chosen activities, done together, should have a bigger impact and lead to more value creation than the sum of each action done by itself. Each individual instrument in a band can sound beautiful just playing their own part, but the real magic happens when all of the instruments play together in synchronized harmony. Carefully crafted strategy benefits from a similar coordination and organization in terms of priorities, direction, and timing. If our activities aren't carefully coordinated, then some of our efforts end up working against other activities and hurting the overall effort. Coordination is essential to good strategy, and a lack of good communication and alignment is often what ruins an otherwise good strategy, especially for large organizations that have a lot of complex parts in history. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked within large organizations and found out that half of the group has no clue what the other half is doing, and tens of millions of dollars and years of time are completely wasted. The activities that are a part of your strategy require that you invest your finite resources, so make sure you're carefully coordinating those activities, not only to avoid waste, but also to get that huge multiplier effect. By the way, another word that we could use to describe one of these activities is the word tactic. So another definition of strategy could be a set of well-coordinated tactics that help us achieve the aim of occupying a valuable position within a competitive landscape. So now you know the difference between a strategy and a tactic. To wrap up, let's jump all the way back to the beginning of our definition to an epiphany that took me years to realize. This can get a little complex, but basically when you use the word strategy, you need to ask yourself whether you're talking about the concept of strategy or about a specific strategy aimed to achieve a specific goal. The definition we've been deconstructing in this video is for the concept of strategy as a process. We call the output of that process strategy as well. So this word, strategy, is doing double duty to describe two related but absolutely different meanings. Those who study the field and concepts behind strategy are more prepared to achieve their goals and get the outcomes they desire in any field of life.